all of you can sketch without always asking yourself, how the hell does he make such nice lines and I cannot make them? So this is the exercise of today. More than an exercise, I just would like to let you know how I started, how I felt, how I improved myself to the point that today I can fairly make a good sketch with a very good line quality. So as I was saying, it's all a question of feeling. And how do we get that feeling? Of course, we get the feeling with lots of exercises. But the most important thing when we start is that we must know what type of exercise we have to make, so that we know what to do it right. The idea is that when we touch with our pencil that has a very nice sharp point onto the paper, and the paper, as you can see, it's on top of a stack, so that we have a very nice kind of not extra hard surface, okay, with a very nice paper, which is a marker paper. This is from Canson, okay. I can show you the cover, which is this one, all right. This is the paper I use. You can find on Amazon, on any art store. Then when we start sketching, we start making a line, drawing a line, what is very, very important is that there is a connection between your brain, your arm, the pressure of your hand onto the paper, and the way you keep that pencil. If you are too tight, you will not get the right line quality. You have to be loose, you have to be easy, because the most important thing is that you feel the moment your point will touch the paper, you can feel that paper through your arm into your brain. It goes to your heart, and then you know how to manage that pressure to make sure that you get a good line. I give you an example. If you don't manage that, you get line like that, which is very hard, very thick, it's bidimensional, it's not the type of line we would like to do. But if you manage that feeling, you know, that you must gain in your brain, your body, in your arm, in your hand, when you use your pencil, then you can go really light. Look, very light, always with the same pressure. You see, I can make single lines very close. You see, I can make lines like that. I can do the same thing with circles, the classical warm-up exercise. Okay, so this is to learn how you become light. You need to learn how to draw light. Look at the difference between the line that a lot of people do at the beginning of sketching experience and those lines here. I'm very light, very, very light. I can make small circles, okay. I can make ellipses, okay, bigger ellipses, vertical ellipses, okay. Don't worry if it's not perfect. What is more important in this exercise is the pressure and the management of your pencil onto the paper. Let's make a really big circle. Look, huge, okay. And all the time I'm using the same pressure. As you can see, the tone value of my pencil, okay, is always the same. Okay, so this is just an exercise to start showing you what I have in mind, okay, what I'll try to explain with my words. And now let's do a very quick exercise, okay. I always put a paper that is not super good, you know, because there are some lines or some stuff underneath to protect the other one that is after, okay. Okay, so now we have here a new one. I make a new point. As you can see, I'm here. My electric pencil sharpener, which are the electric pencil sharpeners are the only one that will give you a very good point. By the way, for those that don't know, I'm using an indigo, dark indigo number 157, and it's of course a Faber-Castell polychromos pencil. Okay, so now if I want to make a side view, okay, as you can see, I start again sketching very light. I am not making any dark line, not yet, because the line, this is the filling of the lines. Then we will go to the line weight. So if I make let's do something like today. Today it's really, we make those cars are very high, they are electric. Trying to find the right proportions. Now, as you can see, I'm making another line here on top of the wheel because that's the wheel well. A lot of people don't do it, and you have to do it. Here too a little bit. You see, from here to here. So now I will just make my shadow line, okay? The perspective, which is 1 point perspective, this is line, it's just the wheel that is behind, that because the perspective goes forward a little bit of the center, because the perspective is like this one, 1 point perspective. Therefore, also the shadow on the ground follows the same rule. Okay, so now, as you can see, I'm still very light, okay? Still very light. You can see the line, it's kind of nice. Very light lines. There is no, I did put some hard spot. It's just for my, to see my references in terms of proportions, okay? It helps my eye to understand. And now that I did that, okay, we can start and apply a little bit of what I call line weight, line quality, which is we take those lines and we make them feeling three-dimensional. So let's start from the windshield. Look, I'm always on the same line. I'm not adding lines. Okay, you can turn the page because it's more ergonomic. So here we start preparing the shadow area. Okay, now let's do a little bit the hood area. Let's see what we can do. We can do this and then that, so that we have a sort of a bend on the front hood. Okay, now electric car, of course. Now today everything is electric. And of course, the bottom lines, I make them a little bit thicker because those lines belong to surfaces that are in shadow. Never forget that the light is coming from here, like that, okay? All right, so now let's make the belt line. We make a belt line that is a little bit high, okay? All right, so now we can imagine how could be this side section. I go again light because I'm thinking how the section of this car is. Let's do this way in the back. Okay, so now can you see? Now what happens? After we did this line drawing, we put some line weight and line quality, we are tendency to see very well in a crisp way all the lines that we made, you know, darker, they go from dark to light. And all the light lines, like those ones that come off the shape, the main shape, we almost don't see them anymore, because they become a third lecture in our brain. The first lecture, so our subject, it's all the contrasted lines that I made with using the line weight and the line quality. Okay, now that I did that, we can put a side reflection, okay? And because here we have the wheel that is kind of outside the surface, okay, so to show like a powerful car, there must be here the surface of the fan that is coming out a little bit. So that's what I'm sketching now. And in this area, not really, it's the whole surface. We can even bend this a little bit more to make it look a little bit more gentle and better. Okay, so now I will make a very quick shading, okay, so that you can see, so that we can see this car. Okay, I start with a side glass reflection and on the B or C pillar in the back. Every time I do my sketching, my shading, as you can see, I am always inclinated, okay, in diagonal. And when I do that, I always apply also here the line quality, the line weight, and the shading, dark, you know, contrasted technique, which means in my case, because the focal point will be in the center, okay, the center of attraction, I will make darker in the center and I will go light on the side, and I will do a shading that is really nice one. I don't want to see stripes. I just want to see dark going to light, okay? So I can go over a few times to make sure that I manage that from dark to light in a very consistent way, like this one. Not bad. Now, once I do that, okay, I work on the line, on the lines of this, of the outline of this reflection, a little bit, and on the belt line, making a little bit thicker. Then on the side, there must be, for sure, a little bit of thickness, you know? You see? So now we have a nice reflection on our side glass. We do the same thing on the body, but the body, if I make a section here, it's coming out, then we have a cylinder, it's coming out again to pick up the light here. Then of course here there will be a little bit of surface going vertically down, okay? So let's do it. Let's see what happens. Always in diagonal. I prepare a base. So I go with a light gray tone value, okay? And you remember what I said. We start darker in the center and then we shade on the side. Now here there will be something different. Why? Because as we said, the wheels are there, but the wheels are a little bit outside and the side fenders are popping out a little bit. So now in my shading I have to show that. Now this is the point where the surface here is starting to pop out, and this one too. So it means that this area is lighter, this is darker, and probably this one is even darker. We'll see. You see those two lines? Central cylinder, fenders. Okay, so let's make this cylinder. As you can see, I'm making typical cylinder shading, and I am leaving those two areas a little bit lighter, you see, because they have to show that they are popping out. Now here it's more like that, and because the light is coming from here, maybe here it's darker. Going to light when it goes up. And the same thing will be down here. Now, can you read the shape? You see? The light is coming always from the center, don't forget. Okay. Here we make just a very light shading, okay? The objective here is really to give an indication, no more than that. Okay, now let's make the shadow. Because this one will frame our composition and we will see everything much better. Now the shadow, of course, is in shadow, therefore it's dark, because the light, we cannot catch the light underneath unless we put some LEDs on the floor. So look, doing that, I keep it kind of dark. Okay, so now on the ground. On the ground it will be a little bit lighter, just a little bit lighter, because there is that space and there is some light filtering. Therefore, on the ground, there will be a little bit of extra light, even if it's in shadow. And that's why I will not make all this area completely black. You will see. Can you see the difference between the two? The top very dark and the bottom not ultra dark. Now this gives you the feeling of three-dimensionality, depth, you know? So now let's make our wheel well. I always cut those points, okay? Alright, so now a little bit of tire filling between the wheel well and the beginning, the start of the real tire. So into the wheel well, it's gonna be really dark there. And here a little bit lighter, because that will make a separation between the empty of the cavity of the wheel well and the real tire. And all this will help to understand the real proportions of this car. You see? Can you have the feeling of the tire and the wheel well there? Okay, the same thing I will do to the front. Okay, let's do this wheel well there. Okay, and now let's clean up. So some people ask me always, but what is this and what is this? Well, those two parts, it's a little bit of the shadow of the front and the back on the ground. This central part is the body of the car. And it fades out all the time, because that's how it is in reality. Now there is another thing very important that you have to do, that some of you don't do. You have to think about it. Look at this. Can you see that there is always that little jump? You see? Here too I put it. Look, I show you much better. You see that little jump here and that little jump here. It's off, and then the shadow goes with this line and it jumps here because of perspective. So don't forget, it's our perspective like that. And this helps to understand the three-dimensionality of your sketch and the feeling of your perspective, of your 3D. You know? That's important. So let's put some light here. Light graphics. Like that, huh? Let's do this way. And let's also fix this because it's a little bit too thick in my opinion. And we put a little bit of glass, rear glass. You see, I fixed that part. I didn't like it too much. Okay, I make the point again. I want to just fix this part a little bit, this one also, because that's where our cut line will be for the door. Now, the section of the door shows really the section of your body. You see? And here we need to put a little bit of the structure that is behind the glass for the fixed glass in the back. You see? All right, so we have our sketch, and today we talked about line quality, line weight, and the feeling, okay, that you have to learn how to use, to acquire, to get into your brain, your arm, your pencil, the feeling of that pressure, in order to organize and get a sketch that will look, I don't want to say like this one, it will look for sure much better than this one, but it will have all the right ingredients to say that this is a quality sketch, okay? So I hope that this video was very useful to you, okay? I invite you, of course, to put your like on my video, to share it if you want, and thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was once again useful for you. Ciao!